The old farmhouse creaked and groaned, settling in for the night. Emma stood in the living room, listening to the wind howl outside. She'd only been in the house for a few hours, but she was already regretting it. It had been the home of her grandmother, a woman she never knew. Her grandmother had died when her parents were young and they'd moved away. This house was all she'd left them. It would take too much work to get it ready to show. But now, with the storm rolling in and the house making unsettling noises, she wished she'd just sold it. Now, after her parents had passed away, the house had come to Emma. She'd been surprised to learn about it, even more surprised by how big it was. A beam of light revealed a rusty trapdoor handle. With shaking hands, she turned the handle. They looked old, like they'd been there a long time. Emma frowned. Why would anyone carve numbers into a trapdoor? And why was this door here in the first place? It unlocked with a click and the trapdoor swung open. She started by searching the house for anything that might help explain the trapdoor. In the living room, she found an old book of fairy tales. Tonight is the night. We will bring him home. We'll trap his soul beneath our floorboards forever. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to writhe. She needed to get out of that house. The writing inside was frantic, desperate. Her grandmother's hand was shaking so badly that the words were almost illegible. Just hold him a little longer. Hold who? What ritual? What key? Who was he? And what did it mean to trap his soul? At first, they were just random entries about daily life. Emma knew she should run, but something was keeping her rooted to the spot. Maybe it was the unfinished ritual, or maybe it was something else entirely. But whatever it was, it meant that Emma wouldn't be leaving that house anytime soon. She needed to get out of that house, to call the police. But the voices seemed to be reaching out to her, pleading with her to do what her grandmother had come to do. The diary entries ended abruptly 60 years ago. Emma wondered what happened. Did the police finally catch up with them, or did they just move on to somewhere else? The diary had been leading up to this moment. Her grandmother was trying to finish a ritual that had been started 60 years ago, a ritual that she had started, the whispering she'd heard. It hadn't been the wind, it had been voices. Trapped souls begging for release, but as Emma read more, she realized they were leading up to something. Her grandmother was counting down the days until a certain ritual was performed. Then in the dining room, she found a children's storybook. But neither of them had anything to say about secret passageways or trapdoors. Emma gasped. She shone the light inside, but it didn't help much. All she could see was darkness. A ghost to pop up and say, boo. But still, she couldn't help but feel uneasy. Just before she went to bed, she went into the living room one last time to check. What the hell? She whispered. That's when she noticed something else. A small hole drilled into the side of the rectangle. At first, she thought they were grocery lists. But then she realized they weren't. They were diary pages. Emma found them all over the house, hidden in books, under loose floorboards, behind pictures on the wall. It was barely bigger than the tip of her finger, but she could see something moving inside. She peered in, but it was too dark to make anything out. And that's when she saw it. A small rectangle in the floorboards, like a section of it had caved in. She tried to shake off the feeling, but as night went on, it only got worse. She'd come to sell it, but after seeing how run down it was, she decided to rent it out instead. They didn't have any lights on, but she remembered seeing a flashlight in the kitchen. Sure enough, there it was lying on the counter. Then she heard it again, a whisper. At first, she thought it was just the wind. The old house was full of drafts, but there was something about the sound that made her stop and listen. Then she realized it wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from below the floorboards. Emma called out, "Hello?" There was no reply. Of course not. What was she expecting? Every time she heard a floorboard creak, she jumped. Every shadow that fell across the room looked menacing. Emma knelt down beside it and ran her fingers over the depression in the boards. She went back out into the hall, and from family she'd never known, Emma took it and returned to the hole. But then she noticed something else. A series of numbers carved into the side of the trapdoor. She closed the trapdoor and went to find answers. As she searched, she began finding other things, Small pieces of paper with writing on them. Each page had the same neat, looping handwriting, her grandmother's handwriting. Her grandmother wrote about secret rituals performed beneath the house, about sacrifices made to trap souls beneath the floorboards. That's when she found the last diary. She traced the words with her fingers. Emma suddenly felt very unwelcome. The whispers from the floorboards grew louder. But as she turned to go, she saw something else. A single diary page lying face down on the floor. She picked it up and opened it. We need the key. Without it, we can't finish the ritual. I'll bring it. I promise. Emma suddenly understood. And now her grandmother was here to finish the job. Emma felt a cold dread settle in her stomach. She looked down at the diary in her hands, then back at the trapdoor in the floor. The whispers grew louder, more insistent.